What is up everybody, my name is Harry from Pharmaquatics. Here you'll get tips, reviews, and research-based best practices for all you casual keepers out there. Hopefully you were able to see my video on some of the benefits for black diamond blasting sand, but in this video I am going to highlight some of the potential downsides that you should recognize before you actively decide to buy this substrate. With a majority of the downsides that I am going to be listing out, I will also add some potential workarounds to help take care of those downsides. So let's get started. Hopefully you guys were able to see the video on some of the various reasons why you should get black diamond blasting sand, and if not, I'll link that on my right over here. So there is no question that black diamond blasting sand provides a plethora of different benefits for fish keepers, but today we are going to be looking at some potential downsides of black diamond blasting sand that you should know before you make the active decision to buy that type of sand. Downside number one is that the rinsing process of black diamond blasting sand should be done thoroughly and well, and it should never be skipped. Having rinsed this stuff firsthand, you'll see that out of the bag there is a lot of dust that comes with black diamond blasting sand. Given that, it's really important that you thoroughly wash and rinse this substrate really well, because if you don't, your tank is going to be cloudy for a few days. It's important to note that this sand has also been known to give off this oily residue that you could see on the top of your tanks if you don't rinse it correctly. Despite the dust and the oil, that doesn't change the fact that this substrate is inert. The added value of rinsing this substrate is more so that you get that crystal clear water when you use it immediately. So rinse it well, my friends. Downside number two is that black diamond blasting sand cannot be used alone if you plan on planting your tank. If you do decide to use black diamond blasting sand for a planted tank, you need to realize that there are no nutrients in that substrate. So it's important that you dose that tank with fertilizer and or root tabs. On the bright side, if you do dose your fertilizer correctly, it is very much so possible for you to have a planted tank using this substrate. And there have been many testimonies on Reddit where people were able to successfully have a healthy planted tank using this substrate. So just do your research on how to dose correctly for your tank given the plants that you use, and you should be fine. Downside number three is that the accessibility and the affordability of black diamond blasting sand is largely dependent on where you are geographically located. The unfortunate reality is that black diamond blasting sand is only cheap if you could physically drive to a Tractor Supply Co store. So if you live in a place where Tractor Supply Co is not within driving distance, or if you don't live in the United States, then you're kind of out of luck. There are other options. I know there are mom and pop stores that can potentially carry black diamond blasting sand, and even Home Depot carries a version for themselves. Unfortunately though, the Home Depot version or whatever blasting sand that they have isn't nearly as affordable as the one that you could get at Tractor Supply Co. Another option is potentially buying online from Tractor Supply Co, but that kind of defeats the purpose because now you have to add shipping costs. Downside number four is that black diamond blasting sand is reportedly very difficult to aquascape in very steep slopes. If your intended aquascape has a steep slope for whatever reason, just know that you may have trouble using black diamond blasting sand. This substrate tends to slide down easily, so making those steep slopes may become difficult. Some potential solutions that you can try is breaking up that slope using hardscape in a more creative manner. Another potential approach is using a base layer of a different substrate that can anchor down more easily. Downside number five is that black diamond blasting sand carries a risk of potentially creating anaerobic pockets in the substrate. Unlike gravel, any sand-like substrate that tends to compact really easily and more efficiently are prone to having risk of anaerobic pockets building up. These pockets of gas come from the byproducts created from bacteria that's living on the substrate. Unfortunately, black diamond blasting sand is no exception to that rule. The good thing is though, reports of this actually happening using black diamond blasting sand is really rare. If you really are concerned about that, my one suggestion is to really just avoid those finer grits such as the 4080. And if you're really concerned, consider adding trumpet snails because they will turn over the substrate for you. And note, I think I forgot to say this in my previous video, but black diamond blasting sand is 100% safe for snails. Downside number six is that black diamond blasting sand, although very rare, has been shown to potentially have metal bits in it. So the reports of finding metal in black diamond blasting sand have been really rare, but there have been a few reports out there. If you really are concerned about that, consider running a magnet through your substrate when you're doing that rinsing process. You may also see this rod-like granule in the black diamond blasting sand substrate, but that is completely normal with these bags and they are safe.
So yes, you got me. black diamond blasting sand isn't a completely black substrate.
Downside number 7 is that upon closer examination of the individual granules within black diamond blasting sand, there are these rust-like granules in the substrate. But these rust-like granules are pretty sporadically placed throughout the substrate, and even underwater, it still looks like a cohesively black substrate. So if you do see those rust-like granules, don't be alarmed about whether or not you picked the right BDBS. It'll still make your tank look good. And lastly, downside number 8 is that it is difficult to gravel vacuum black diamond blasting sand. Similar to like downside 5, downside 8 is something that is applicable to all sand-like substrates. This downside shouldn't really be a problem if you decide to use the medium grit, which is again the 20 to 40, but there are some best practices on how to adequately gravel vacuum black diamond blasting sand. But basically the gist of it is that when you go in with a siphon, you need to siphon at an angle, and then between each suction, you want to kink your tube so that the detritus or the waste or whatever you're siphoning out goes up the siphon, and then the granules from the black diamond blasting sand go back down to the bottom of the tank. Well, there it is. Those are your 8 potential downsides to black diamond blasting sand. It's still no question that this budget substrate is the king of all budget substrates, especially if you are trying to accomplish that black sand look. Hopefully these reasons didn't dissuade you from grabbing a bag out there. I just wanted to shed some light on these potential downsides so that there are no surprises for you when you do grab your first bag. I personally am not making any commission. There are no incentives on my end to promote this substrate, but I think it is a valuable budget alternative that fish keepers need to know about. So I'll put the link in the description. Of course, it is more worth it for you to physically drive to those brick and mortar stores as opposed to ordering online. So check to see if there's one near you. And again, as always, I will put the article version of this video linked down below. Check out my website, Pharmaquatics.com. As I always say, if this video managed to help at least one of you out there, then it was completely worth it making it. I started this YouTube thing about 1 to 2 months ago, and the process has been really fulfilling. Please be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. It really does help the channel out. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.